I'm going to do a video here for the YouTube channel on how to take care of the bushings that are down in the nose fork. And first thing I wanted to point out is what you're apt to find. You see how the nose strut rocks in that thing? That's because the bushings are worn out in there. It doesn't do it side to side, it's just fore and aft. Okay, we'll take the strut out. Now this strut is in very good condition. Hardly any wear down here on the spindle that goes down in it. So that's going to be full diameter and fitting. You'll find some of them are very pitted down in here because they've let moisture get down in around the O-ring that goes up against here, and you may or may not have the proper thickness of thrust washer on the bottom, which either is going to put too much pressure on the O-ring and spin it out, or it's not going to let it seal. And you lube this up with grease, of course, and the bushings that go in there have little pits, little pockets in them, and they're a bronze bushing with Teflon coating on them, and so they're designed to hold the grease. But if you get water and stuff down in there, it tends to rust this area and pit it real bad, and that contributes to wearing out the coating inside of there and causing them to get loose. I'm going to try to get a picture down inside. There we go. So you can see how that's worn back at the back. There we go. And it's also going to be worn toward the front side at the bottom. You can see those little pits and stuff in there and that yellow coating that's on there. When that gets worn out, these things have to be replaced. Now, these are installed with a split that's running right down through here, and the bottom one's not exactly lined up with it, it's just offset a little bit the other direction. It's normally, that split is at the very back, which makes them a lot easier to deal with. But in this particular case, we have to deal with it here. What we're trying to do, I just pulled one apart here. These are those bushings that are down in there, and this is one after it's been pulled out. We have to push a chisel down in here that's specially ground to split that and get a hold of a pair of vice grips and twist it out. I went over there, the splits were absolutely in the front, and it was really difficult to work with. So I'm going to try to do this one and get it on video here. This is the the special ground chisel. How much we can really get shown here. You see how it's ground that direction, and it's ground round on the ends. Turn it over to the other side, and then looking at it straight from the end, if you can see that, it's curved. This backside is ground round this way, and the whole objective of this is so it goes in there and catches that split, pushes down in through there, and I polish this thing actually on the buffer, and it goes through there and doesn't gouge the aluminum. If you go in there with a regular chisel, it's just going to really gouge the crap out of the inside of this deal here. I'm going to position this chisel right on the very edge of that split. You can see how that's starting to go in there and lift that. There we go. So we want to separate that all the way down. So we get a hold of it, pull that out, get a hold of it with a pair of vice grips, and twist it this direction and pull out. And we have one removed bushing. Okay, now, next trick is to get down in there and get this thing started right at the edge of the second one. And that one popped. Get my little flashlight here and see if I can shine a little light on the subject in there. There we go. That one popped. And we need the needle nose vice grips to get down in there. Hold that one. This one's wanting to be stubborn. This thing flex too much. And the second one's out. Now, trying to get some light down in here. There we go. Kind of a mark down in there where the chisel went down through, but it didn't gouge anything. It's all still nice and smooth. So now we get this cleaned out good down in here, and get the new ones ready, and we'll go back to the press and press them in. Okay, now we're going to put bushings in these things. Okay, these are the new bushings. Again, they have that split that we were talking about, and we're going to line that up so it's in the very back of the socket. And this hole over here, we're going to reverse the other one so that we get the bushings lined up in there. We got one hole on this side and one hole on that side. Not that that makes much difference, that's just kind of the way I like to do it. Now, one of the things that's interesting, if you take a look at the parts catalog for our airplanes, it shows the let me move this up just a little bit so I can all get in here. It shows the 24 DX 28 DX24 bushing, I think it is, and then it shows one that's under a Grumman part number. It's got just a bunch of numbers. Starts, I think, with a 5, and the reason for that is they milled off just about a 1/16 of an inch of one of these to let that seat down in there a little bit further to give a better seat on the this recess. If I can get up here, you can see in there, there's a recess right around here that the O-ring sets in. So I like to take these things, they'll work without doing that. I like to take them over to the sander and buzz them just a little bit. So I'm going to take 2 of them over here and take them down just a tad, and then I'll put that sanded edge in the bottom of the upper one so that it makes a smoother fit down in there. Okay, got one of them ground down. Get some calipers here and show you just how much I took off of there. Okay, if you can kind of visually see the edge, this one's got a bevel on it and this one doesn't have anymore. And you set them down like that, just a little bit lower. Get the caliper on here. The original is exactly 1.5 inches. And I've taken about about 20 thousandths off of that. That should be ample. All you need is just a little bit. Okay, well, I'm going to use these two. Use the original. I'm putting that one in first, and then this one goes in second. And now, the tooling for this, I made this tooling up a number of years ago. Okay, this piece here, that's actually a piston from a brake caliper. And you can see the groove for the O-ring there. And it's got just enough of a flange on it that it stops it from going on through there. And so this goes in like this, and I'm missing the nut that holds that thing together. So I'm going to have to break here just a minute and see if I can find it. Okay, I got that little problem taken care of. So now, the way this thing works is this thing goes inside of the bearing, the bushing, and this big washer up on the top is catches it, so it presses the thing down in. This part goes up onto the press. The bottom part captures the fork. Okay, need a little bit of lubricant on there. This is some stuff that's just a very thin film lubricant that's, there we go, that's just good for this. About anything will do. Red grease, you can use silicone. Anyway, just kind of slick it right up in there so the bushing is going to slide in good. Okay, now get the one here that's going to go in first. Got the bevel on both ends. Okay, now this, you can see what's going on here. It sets back in there, and that sits on that. Now on the angle forks, you have to use this fixture. The old flat fork, and this is a good time to point this out. These are what's called a flat fork, or the original Yankee fork, and they're identifiable by the tow bar lug hole is parallel to the axle hole. And this is absolute 90 degrees from here to there. And where these are angled downward. So you got your vertical here. That's about a 5-degree angle, if I remember right, going down maybe 10. Anyway, the original AA1 Yankees and the 1972 TR2 model AA1As had this fork only. All the rest have the angled. This is what's called a weldment type fork. Basically, it's just a cast piece in here that's, this piece has been around and it's welded in. And this was up through 1976. And both the angle fork and the flat fork were made like this on those. This is the cast fork. Came out in 1977 and followed all the way through the latest production of Tigers, and will again if they ever get them back into production. It's a much better fork. These over here, the others can splay out this direction from a hard landing, and you lose some of your nose clearance, the prop clearance. So anyway, if you're doing a flat fork, you don't need a fixture like this. If you're doing the angle fork, you need a fixture to hold it so it's absolutely straight up and down. Okay, now I'm going to set this up, put that split at the very back, like that. Slip this guy in. Actually, what I'm going to do is slip this up on here first. Slip that in, and then slide this back and let that settle down. We got the split right directly in the back. Okay, now tighten up the jack. Outside diameter of that washer is just perfect to slide in through that. We get down to the point that we actually bottom out. Right there. Okay, first one is pressed in. Release the jack. Tighten her back up. Now, pull this out. Slide that out of the way. Get this one rotated. Okay, I want the end I ground at the bottom. Okay, just slide this back in. Drop it down into position again. Let's see, actually I should put just a little more lube on that. Almost there, and we bottomed out. Okay. And there we have the new bushings in place. I screwed up there and I didn't get that tobacco one aligned with it, but again, it doesn't make really any difference. It makes them a little bit easier to take out the next time. So anyway, that's our lesson for today on putting these together. I'll do that other fork later. So, get this thing packed up, ready to go back to its home in Ohio.